During 1990s, India had more than over 25,000 cinema theatres, but now it has shrunk to only 11,000. More than 20,000 theatres has been closed in the last 30 years, and only a few has been opened. If we compare this to China, then at that time China had less than 2,000 theatres, but now they have almost 90,000 cinema theatre screens. Cinema has seen a significant growth in China, but here in India it is collapsing. Even before independence, India was at the top when it comes to the non-English films. Our country was suffering from poverty, but still our movies had set a record of selling more than 30 crore tickets. Even today's Hollywood barely sells this much. Can you imagine? Indian cinema was competing at world level and our movies were the highest earning non-English films. But after a few decades during 1980s, India suddenly disappeared from the list. What happened during 1980s that the Indian cinema who was competing Hollywood doesn't even show up on the list today?
We have a fairly backward audience here, I must say, in spite of the film society movement and all that. If you consider the large audience, it's a backward audience, unsophisticated audience.
When I started doing research, I found that the reason for the death of Indian cinema is our own movie industry itself. The year was 1913 when Dadasaheb Falke released India's first movie, which led to the foundation of today's Bollywood. Dadasaheb Falke is known as the father of Hindi cinema. On the other hand, R.V. Naidu had opened the first cinema theatre of South India in Chennai. He is known as the father of Telugu cinema today. Later on, these two, unofficially called Bollywood and Tollywood, were heading towards becoming the two largest film industries of India. At that time, we had very small budget and we used to make black and white movies. On the other hand, Hollywood had come up with the color cameras. If we see the highest grossing movies of that time, the list was something like this. Mother India, which was the runner-up in the Oscar Awards. Pather Panchali, which is widely admired by the greatest Hollywood filmmakers.
The first film that I really saw about India was Pather Panchali. It brought me to learn about the rest of the world.
Mughal-e-Azam, which wasn't only commercially blockbuster but was also so much critically acclaimed. But the highest grossing films today have only a few movies that has genuine storyline. We had everything, great directors, great actors, as well as great story writers. There was only one thing that Indian cinema was lacking, and that was money. Everybody thought that if we get more budget for our films, we would be competing Hollywood directly. And this started happening. So many new cinema theatres were opened, more people started coming to watch movies, and now we had larger audience as well as larger budget. But nobody knew that this significantly growing budget would become the biggest reason for the death of Indian cinema, and this critically acclaimed industry would shift towards making cheap and massy masala movies.
उस रेस का सिकंदर मैं हूं।
During that era, most of the filmmakers used to make movies with their own money, and the filmmakers who didn't have money used to sell their private properties or take loan to make movies. This created a pressure on them that if the movie doesn't turn out to be good, then the audience will not watch it and their property will be gone forever. So they tried their best at that time to make good movies because of this fear of losing money. Here are some examples. Raj Kapoor took massive financial risk while making Mera Naam Joker. The movie turned out to be good. It has good IMDb rating as well as good Rotten Tomatoes score today. A new example to this would be Tumbad. The movie was made when Soham Shah sold his house to get the budget for the movie. Due to this pressure, Soham Shah and their team worked their best, and Tumbad took 7 years to make. The movie turned out to be so damn good that it is considered among the most underrated masterpieces of Indian cinema. By the time when production houses started appearing, filmmakers were going lazy because there was someone else's money that they were playing on. But before this production house boom, there were so many story-driven good films which was releasing, and then came the year 1940, and the next 20 years from this timestamp is considered as the golden era of the Indian cinema.
I would say Pyasa. Then there was Bandit Queen, Sahi Biwi Gulam.
These 2 decades literally shown the potential of Indian cinema to the entire world. We were releasing so many critically acclaimed movies, one of them being Apu trilogy, directed by Satyajit Ray, often considered as one of the greatest filmmakers of the 20th century. You must have seen this man on absolute cinema memes. This is Martin Scorsese, one of the best filmmakers of Hollywood. Even this man has restored some of the films of Satyajit Ray.
640 films that have been restored and preserved. Pate Panchali by Satyajit Ray.
Indian cinema was at its peak at 1940s to 60s. This was truly a golden era. But gradually the film actors started noticing that the people are used to watch them in the cinema theaters. No one even knows a thing about the writers, cinematographer of a film or the director. And here came the rise of star culture in the industry that slowly started killing the cinema.
फैंस क्या होते हैं मुझसे पूछो प्यार का वो तूफान मोहब्बत की वो आंधी वो जज्बा वो जुनून.
This rise of the star culture led to create a formula for the movies that we take a superstar in our film, add one beautiful actress and don't give a shit about the story of the movie. People will definitely come to cinema because of the star, and this formula somehow worked. Rajesh Khanna is often seen as the first superstar of the Indian cinema. People say that the stardom that this man had is not even comparable to today's superstars like Shah Rukh Khan. Girls used to apply sindoor as the sign of the love towards Rajesh Khanna. Some mad girls used to lie down in the front of his car. Some articles even say that Rajesh Khanna once saw a beggar asking for money as alms by using his name, and you may have heard some of his dialogues.
पुष्पा मुझसे ये आंसू नहीं देखे जाते. I hate tears. और मुझे जिंदगी बड़ी होनी चाहिए, लंबी नहीं.
Rajesh Khanna continuously gave 15 hit movies. Doesn't matter if the movie is good or not, people were going to the theaters and film becomes hit. The filmmakers were clearly seeing the power of stardom. After a few years, there were other rising stars in the industry. This phenomenon led the filmmakers to focus only on the stardom rather than the actual art or story. And this star culture became the first reason for the death of Indian cinema. But even with this star culture, there was still some filmmakers who worked for their passion, not only for profit. What happened to them? Industry was not only heading towards star culture but also towards corporatization. There were so many production houses opened, and these production companies became mainstream for making movies like Raj Kapoor's RK Films, BR Chopra's BR Films, and so on. This change to the industry gave the entire control of movies to these production houses. The filmmakers were told that even if the actor isn't suitable for this role, you need to get him in the movie because he is the star that public will come in the cinema to watch for. Otherwise, I won't give you the production cost. Even if there is no need, but you'll have to use some songs in the movie so that people buy the DVD of the film later when the songs become popular. Hence, more profit. Because of all these things, the film that were used to seen as an art suddenly became a money-making machine. And the time was came when public also used to go to theaters for the stars. The fee of these stars were so much high that any aspiring filmmaker was not able to afford him without going to production houses. And if there is no star, there is no audience. To afford these stars, you need to go to the production houses. And if you go to the production houses, they will control you and won't give you the freedom. This phenomenon created a loop where each and every film turned out to be a formula film given by the production houses. The rise of star culture and production houses controlling filmmakers, these were the two key reasons that led to completely destroy this golden era of Indian cinema till 1970s. These formula movies gradually decreased the interest of films to the audience because there was nothing new left, and the Indian cinema that was at the top of non-English films in terms of selling tickets and earning money, it suddenly disappeared from the list. And this story does not only apply for the Bollywood but for all the other industries like Telugu and Bangla cinema and other regional industries. By 1990s, the films became so low standard that everybody knew that if there is Amrish Puri in the film, he must be the villain. The girl would be rich, etc. People lost their interest in the movies. The large audience base started collapsing, and by then Indian cinema theaters started closing. That is the reason that during 90s, where India had more than 25,000 cinema theaters, now in 2025 we only have 11,000 theater screens, and most of them are new multiplexes, not those single screen theaters that we had then. Now, audience are not coming to watch the film, and there was only one way of making these film production houses profitable, and that is to increase the price. So even if we sell less tickets, we will earn more. This led to a change in cinema. The cinema, which was widely watched by the family audience, nowadays it is more like a premium service. PVR Inox is the biggest cinema chain in India, which has ticket price starting from 250 rupees and going as high as 500 to 1000 or even 3000 for one person. Due to these high price tickets, people who used to go to the theaters with their family every week, nowadays they are not even going once in 2 or 3 months. Cinema halls are seen usually empty for weeks, and audience only come when there is a film with big superstar. Tickets are priced so high that even if our population is growing, but this record of selling more than 30 crore tickets does not seem to broken anytime soon. So today we neither have the golden era of 1960s nor we have the audience interested in the movies.